Hello and welcome to an album a day 371, going through my media and vinyl collections. Today we're going back to 1978 to cover a compilation album released by Deep Purple, or someone in the Deep Purple A&R camp somewhere, some record company or rights holders or whatever. And I'm talking about the Deep Purple singles A's and B's. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. No clue what the cover of this concept is, but it's a compilation album, so they're whatever they are. Obviously, you need to know that this is the record label putting it out. This is a really weird cover. The cardboard is very strange. It's kind of flimsy, but it's incredibly shiny. I don't know if I can get a good there. There you go. Get a little bit of how shiny it really is. It's kind of strange. Unfortunately, the person who was selling this was not very upfront about the condition of it. There's tape here holding it together at the bottom. They listed this as very good plus, which no. Got a little bit of minor ring wear on it, which 1978, you kind of expect that. It's got a little dent from in between the album where the open space is. It's not a huge deal, and it's a compilation album, so does have the original sleeve. It's fairly generic, but you get the How to Care for Your Record, which apparently a lot of people didn't know how to read back then, and the important notice about copyright. Let me read that to you. It says, copyright exists in all records issued by EMI Records Limited. So Heritage, or Harvest is a division of EMI, I guess. Any unauthorized broadcasting, public performance, copying, or re-recording of such records in a manner whatsoever will constitute an infringement of such copyright. Application for public performance licenses should be addressed to, and then it gives the address in London. And that is from EMI. This is made in Great Britain. Patent number 1,125,555. But the sleeve is number 1078. That's apparently very important for us to know. Anyway, yeah, that is true. I mean, you legally do not have any right to even play music for someone else. Your purchase of an album, a cassette, a CD, a digital download, whatever, even really streaming kind of has this intent, is that it's for personal use only. In other words, you're buying the record, you're getting a license to listen to it, you are purchasing the physical medium, but you do not own the material in it. It's actually very interesting when you really think about it. You don't have the right to sell it. You don't have the right to do a lot of things. Now, of course, there are concessions that are made for certain outlets these days, like media podcasters such as myself. There are things that we are allowed to do, things that we aren't allowed to do. For example, depending on the rights holders, if I upload a video to YouTube that contains copywritten material, they may require that I pull the video. They might say, we're not lending any license to this whatsoever. This is really hard to get back in the jacket for some reason. But they also might say, you know what, you can use it, but you're not allowed to make any money off it. So you can't monetize the video if you are one of the people that are, collecting money from your YouTube videos. So you wouldn't be able to do that. There are some people that just don't care at all. You know what, this song's been around for 50 years. It's done what it's going to do. We just want people to still hear it and care about it. So fine, do whatever you're going to do with it. All depends on the rights holders, which is not necessarily, and often not, the artists. A lot of times it's the record company or the publishers that own that. So, people a lot of times will blame the bands. I mean, it's kind of the, the argument from the old days. What was it before Pandora, the thing that Lars Ulrich was fighting, whatever that service was. Don't they have enough money? Well, first of all, who has the right to tell anybody they have enough money? Because that's, you've created something and you have a right to make whatever you can make on it. But it's not even the band who usually gets blamed for these decisions, typically don't even know anything about it. They don't know whether their music is on iTunes or Apple Music or whatever. They don't make those decisions. It's the rights holders that decide those things. If it gets licensed in a movie, unless they retain some element of creative control, like Lionel Richie, for example, has final say for anything that happens to the song Hello. If somebody wants to put it in a movie, the publishers, there's two of them, both publishers can say, yeah, we're fine with that. That's cool. We've listened to your re-recording. We're happy with it. Here's what you're going to pay us to be able to do that. And then Lionel Richie might come in like he did with me and go, no, just no. And then there's other people, like I remember when Deep Purple had Smoke on the Water in the Burger King commercial, and they were doing the Smoke on the Water or Smoke on the Whopper campaign. And I asked Roger about it. He says, we didn't even know. We don't have any say so in it. And that was a really big lesson for me. That was my first experience with how rights work. They don't even own that. They get performance royalties, they get writer's share, but they don't own the copyright to it. So other people make those decisions. So it's interesting the band is the target of most people's anger or whatever, but a lot of times they don't even know. The vinyl is from Harvest, and it has the typical yellow label. I think it was Deep Purple in concert, which I now have on Purple Records. I think originally I had it on Harvest. That was a special order from Harmony House in Mount Clemens, Michigan at the Macomb Mall back when I was like 14. Really cool collection of music though. So I was thinking about this, and I'll tell you the songs here in a second, but I was thinking about this, and what's kind of cool about these compilations, even for people who are really well versed in these albums like I am, you experience the songs in a different way when you put them in a different order, right? If you're listening to these songs on the albums, you have a certain, this comes before, then you have this, then that comes after, and you kind of just get that in your head. But when you shake it up a little bit, when you basically kind of put it on shuffle, you might hear something different in a song when it comes before or after something else. And it's really interesting to be able to kind of mix things up from time to time. So compilations are great for that. So are K-Tel albums. So on side one, we have Hush, the classic Joe South remake, the one that really took off for the band right away on their first album. One More Rainy Day, Amaretta, which was not part of an album, it was a single, so that's one of the B-sides, I guess. Then we have Wring That Neck. These were all released on 45, by the way. I have all of them, or all of side A anyway, on Tetragrammaton. Then we have Wring That Neck. We have Hallelujah, which was the first song to feature Roger Glover and Ian Gillan, and while the other singer and bass player were still in the band. And then we have April Part 1, which was, I think, the B-side of Hallelujah. Then we go over to side 2. We get a little bit more modern. We get into the Mark II era Black Knight, which was a single, again, not part of the original album in rock. We have Speed King, which opened Deep Purple in rock. Strange Kind of Woman from Fireball, I'm Alone, which was a B-side. Demon's Eye was on the European version, not the American version, but I think it was on a 45 or B-side over in the States. And then we close out with Fireball, which is interesting because that really is a much better album opener from the start with that, the machine kicking in and all that. But thinking about the end of it, yeah, I could see it being, a good ending for an album. So anyway, that's that. There are a couple of variants of this. The variant I thought I was getting, based on the condition or the description from the seller, was the purple vinyl variant, which is why I requested this one, and it isn't. They had it wrong. Also shipped it very dangerously with loose staples and all kinds of things. But there is also a rare blue variant of the vinyl as well. But it's interesting. These compilations are, I don't know if they do them so much anymore in the streaming world. They're probably not as important. But, I kind of think that they could still have some value to them. I think when I don't stream music, so I don't really know. But I would imagine that people, as soon as they stop liking a song or they check out a song and they're like, I don't want to hear that right now, and they just skip to the next thing and skip to the next thing. I think we're probably missing out on a lot of great music. So maybe compilations do still have some relevance. But I would say even for people who are big fans of their bands, grab a compilation and listen to that now and then. Hear things in a different order. Hear things that maybe you don't listen to all the time, like these B-sides, for example, that aren't on the albums. You probably don't hear them a lot because maybe you don't listen to the 45s, or you don't have them and you only have the albums, or they're just not ones that you think about because they aren't on the proper album, and they're still great songs. So I think the compilation albums are really cool. Check them out, guys. Deep Purple, the singles A's and B's, a really cool compilation. Little Mark 1, Little Mark 2, broken up nicely between side A and side B. Interestingly, I was just having a conversation with Kevin Brown about the quality of sellers between Discogs and eBay, and it's interesting because I've done very well on eBay. The ones that I've had issues with on Discogs were typically more international shipping issues, more so than the sellers themselves, although I have had to have them step in on a couple of issues with, I think they were both United States sellers, or one was and one was European. But you know, it's people. That's what it really comes down to. But typically, people on Discogs are people that have stores and they're selling records through there. They know how to grade a little bit better. They know how to be a little more detailed in the description as to what it includes. They have specific listings that they have to list their album under. So you're typically comparing the record number to the release that they're showing. You know you're getting the right variant and all that. So really helpful there. But in any case, yeah, this one was not as much of a win, but I still am glad to have it in my collection. I've never owned this album before. So for, you know, $15, not too bad, I have to say. The vinyl itself is in great condition, so I'm happy about that. Cover could be a little bit better, but again, this is from 1978. What are we really expecting here? Hope you guys are having a great day tonight, and I'll probably release it in a little bit. Actually, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. The last CD of the new Macaulay Schenker box set from Cherry Red Records that I reviewed comes out. 4-part episode. Today will be the 4th part. Then our normal Friday episode of Deep Purple Smoke on the podcast. Then I've got Mark back on Saturday to continue along with our TV themes episode. And then on Sunday, I have a very special interview with a new artist to bring your way with a style of music I'd never heard of, but it was a great interview and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So you have a wonderful night and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.